thanks for joining me today. We all have bad habits, I know I do, but we always don't know how to get rid of them. So I'm hoping you can give us maybe 5 really good tips to help us break our bad habits.
Tip number 1 would be to really understand the power of our subconscious minds.
Right.
There are so many things that our minds do for us that happen outside of our conscious awareness, like you're breathing right now.
Right.
You're not
Yes.
thinking about, I need to remember to breathe. It just happens
Yes.
on its own, right?
Yeah.
When we repeat behaviors over and over again, those also become automatic so that we don't need to think about them. It's like a tug of war between your conscious and your subconscious mind, where consciously you decide that you want to do one thing and then you keep finding yourself doing what you've always done before.
Right.
So in that tug of war between our conscious intention and our subconscious, the subconscious always wins. Hands down. So one of the important things that we do in hypnosis is to really focus on aligning our subconscious with our conscious goals so that all of us is working in the same direction towards successfully accomplishing our desired outcomes.
That's great. Tip number 2.
All right, so tip number 2 would be to address the positive reasons for the habit that you're trying to change.
Okay.
So I'll give you a little story about a client of mine who came to me to quit smoking. So he essentially quit after the first session, but when he came back later, he shared with me that he had still at times been struggling with a desire to have a cigarette. And on one occasion, he actually broke down and went and had a cigarette with his father. When we discussed this a bit further, what we realized is that he was actually really wanting a connection with his father as opposed to the cigarette. He told me that he didn't even enjoy the experience of the cigarette at that point. He was relieved when it was over and he could actually put it out. But what he did really crave was having that one-on-one time with his dad to bond with his father. And so when we can get in touch with the positive reasons why we're acting out an old habit, we can come up with some new ways to replace the habit and still be able to meet these needs that we still have.
Right. Tip number 3.
So our thoughts and our body's physiology are really inextricably linked. So for example, can you think of a time when you felt upset by something?
Yep.
All right, so go ahead and remember that time right now. And as you think about that, as you have that thought, what do you notice in your body physically happening?
My breathing just went more shallow, and I felt a little bit more of higher blood pressure.
Yeah, so our thoughts affect our body's physiology, and sometimes when we experience unpleasant feelings in our body like that, our instinct is to try to eject that thought from our brains. But if you've ever tried to do that, it's actually very difficult to do.
Right.
So if I say to you right now, don't think about a purple cat wearing sunglasses, what happens?
Thinking of
And the more I say, don't think about the purple cat with sunglasses, the more you can't help but to think about it. So it's not very effective to just try to stop thinking something.
Yeah.
So what I recommend is that you first move your body and change your body's physiology first. And so you can do this by literally standing up and shaking your arms, shake it off. If you want to be a little more subtle about it, you can stretch, have a drink of water, take a little walk, anything that you can do to change your body's physical feeling. And then what you can do is you'll find it much easier then to actually replace the thought that you're trying to get rid of with something more useful, like maybe remembering a time when you felt really confident or happy about something, and redirect your attention on that, because you really can't think about 2 things at once.
Number 4.
So tip number 4 would be to make sure that you create a really vivid picture of your goal for yourself. So a lot of times, if we've repeated a negative behavior a lot of times in the past, we automatically imagine ourselves being that way or doing those things. So as an example, if you're someone who is wanting to lose weight, you may have some bad habits that you know you need to get rid of, like maybe overeating or making the wrong food choices. And when you imagine yourself you might automatically find yourself seeing yourself doing what you've always done. So one of the cool things about our subconscious is that you can actually start to kickstart this repetition that you need to create a new habit by using your imagination. And your subconscious, you can create such a vivid experience for yourself that your subconscious actually experiences it like it's already happening. So what you want to do is really imagine yourself in your own mind doing the things that you want to be doing, already being successful, and get into your senses about it as much as you can. Notice how it feels in your body as you imagine it, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and create as rich an experience as you can for yourself.
And tip 5.
The last one is that complacency is enemy number 1 to making a change. So being really on guard for feelings of apathy about making the change. Those feelings usually come from a sense of a likely outcome of failure. So if you've had past experiences where you've not been successful at something, you might have a subconscious belief that you're not going to be successful. And if you actually believe that, the complacency follows in that it's just not worth it to even try. Why put in the effort if you're not going to get anywhere with it? And really, when you have that mindset, you've set yourself up to fail before you even do a thing. We talked about interrupting unhelpful thoughts earlier. So really choosing to ensure that you are maintaining a positive expectancy of success and being on guard for that complacency.
These are great tips. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
If you'd like a free screening to see if hypnosis can help you, contact melora.parker@porkcredithypnosis.com.